Ashes of Tomorrow, Commander Arya Chen floated in zero gravity, blood droplets forming perfect spheres around her head. The emergency lights bathed the bridge of the EU's Resilience in hellish red, and for a moment she couldn't remember why she was alive. Then it all came rushing back, the attack, the screaming metal, the impossible odds. She pulled herself to the command console, her fingers leaving bloody prints on the keypads. The main display flickered to life, showing what remained of humanity's grand armada. Nothing, just debris fields stretching across the void where 48 proud warships had made their final stand 6 hours ago. The Krillian Empire had swept through them like a scythe through wheat. System diagnostic, she croaked to the ship's AI. Good morning, Commander Chen, Artemis responded, her synthesized voice incongruously cheerful. Hull integrity at 32%. Life support functional in 7 compartments. Quantum drive offline. Weapons systems. Commander, we have no weapons systems. Arya laughed, a bitter sound that hurt her cracked ribs. No weapons. 517 souls aboard, according to the life sign readings, probably the last free humans within 1,000 light years. And they had no weapons. The Krillians had appeared 18 months ago, emerging from dark space with technology that made humanity's achievements look like stone tools. They didn't negotiate. They didn't threaten. They simply announced that the human infestation would be cleansed from the galaxy, and then they began their methodical work. Commander Chen to all surviving crew, she broadcast through the internal comm system. Report to Conference Room Alpha if you're able. If you're injured, stay where you are. Medical teams will find you. Over the next hour, they gathered engineers with radiation burns, pilots with shattered limbs, scientists still in shock. Lieutenant Commander Jake Morrison, her tactical officer, had lost his left eye but insisted he could still fight. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the ship's xenobiologist, clutched a datapad containing everything they knew about Krillian physiology, which wasn't much. Chief Engineer Mikhail Volkov was the last to arrive, his massive frame barely fitting through the damaged doorway. The quantum drive is scrap, he announced without preamble. But I might be able to rig something using parts from the shuttle bay. Give me 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we'll all be dead, Morrison said flatly. Then we die trying. Arya stood, ignoring the pain shooting through her body. But I don't intend to die. The Krillians expect us to run, to hide, to slowly waste away in some forgotten corner of space. They've studied our military doctrine, our tactics, our psychology. They think they know us. She activated the holographic display, showing their current position, but they've never faced humans who have nothing left to lose. They've never faced ghosts. What are you suggesting? Dr. Tanaka asked. I'm suggesting we stop playing by the rules of civilized warfare. We have one partially functional ship, 500 people, and the element of surprise. They think we're dead. Let's use that. Over the following days, they transformed. The military hierarchy dissolved, replaced by something more primal. Engineers worked alongside Marines to create improvised weapons from mining equipment. Scientists studied captured Krillian technology with desperate intensity. Every surface of the ship's corridors became covered with photos and names, not just of their own dead, but of every human colony that had been extinguished. Earth had burned first. 10 billion voices silenced in a single day. Then Mars, the belt colonies, the proud cities of Europa. The Krillians were thorough, using biological weapons that targeted human DNA specifically. They wanted no trace of humanity to remain. On the 7th day, they detected a distress signal from Kepler Station, a research outpost in the Sigma Draconis system. The message was automated, repeating endlessly, "This is Kepler Station 212 personnel in underground bunkers. Food running low. Please, anyone, help us." It could be a trap, Morrison warned, his one good eye scanning the tactical data. "Everything's a trap now," Arya replied. "But those might be real people. Our people." Volkov had worked miracles with the quantum drive, creating something that shouldn't exist, a hybrid of human and salvaged Krillian technology. It would give them perhaps a dozen jumps before complete failure. Arya gathered her department heads for one final meeting. "We're going to Kepler Station," she announced. "Not as the military unit we were, but as something else. The Krillians believe in order, in hierarchy, in the inevitable march of superior civilizations over inferior ones. We're going to show them chaos." The plan was insane by any military standard. They would jump directly into the system, broadcast their identity on all frequencies to draw Krillian attention, and attempt a combat landing on the station while under fire. No shields, no weapons, just speed and audacity. "Why broadcast our position?" Tanaka asked. "Because I want them to know," Arya said, her voice cold. "I want them to know that humans are still here, that we're coming for our people, and that we're not afraid." The jump to Sigma Draconis took everything the damaged resilience had. They emerged from quantum space with systems failing, alarms screaming, directly between a Krillian destroyer and Kepler Station. The destroyer, caught completely off guard, took precious seconds to react. "All frequencies, maximum power," Arya commanded. "This is Commander Arya Chen of the EU's Resilience. We're here for our people. Humanity remembers. Humanity endures." The destroyer's weapons powered up, but Volkov had already initiated their insane maneuver. Using the last of their thruster fuel, he sent the Resilience into a spiraling dive toward the station, pieces of their hull breaking away from the stress. The Krillians fired, their energy beams carving through space, but they had expected evasive maneuvers, not a suicidal plunge. The Resilience crashed into Kepler Station's docking bay at 3 times the recommended approach velocity. The impact killed 12 crew members instantly, but the rest were already moving. Marines and engineers poured out, racing toward the bunkers while others set explosive charges from their mining equipment. They found the survivors 187 humans, not 212. The others had died waiting. Children, scientists, maintenance workers, all who had thought their lives would be ordinary until the sky fell. As they rushed the survivors aboard, the Krillian destroyer moved to block their escape. "Commander," Artemis announced calmly, "the destroyer is charging its main weapon. We have approximately 40 seconds. Arya looked at the frightened faces of the people they'd saved, at her crew who had followed her into hell, and made a decision that the old Arya Chen never could have made. Detonate the charges. The explosives they'd planted weren't meant to destroy the station, they were meant to destroy the station's fusion reactor. The explosion wouldn't kill the destroyer, but the electromagnetic pulse would blind it for crucial minutes. It would also irradiate anyone left on the station. 23. Volunteer crew members were still outside the ship when she gave the order. They knew. They had always known. The station erupted in nuclear fire as the Resilience lurched back into space. Shields gone, weapons gone, 23 heroes gone, but with 187 souls who would live another day. The destroyer, its sensors overwhelmed, fired blindly as the human ship made one desperate quantum jump to safety. In the silence that followed, in some unnamed system where they stopped to make repairs, Arya stood before her Chrono, her family. Now, they were all that remained of Earth's children in this corner of the galaxy. The Krillians wanted to exterminate us like pests, she said, her voice carrying through the packed cargo bay. They wanted us to die, quietly, orderly, according to their grand plan. But humans don't die quietly. We rage, we fight, we sacrifice, and we endure. Today, we saved 187 people. Tomorrow, we'll save more. And every life we save, every blow we strike, is a message to the Krillians. You may have won the war, but you'll never have peace. Not while even one human draws breath. The crowd erupted not in cheers, but in something more primal, a sound of grief and fury and determination mixed into one. The resilience had died at Kepler Station. What emerged was something new, something the galaxy had never seen. A ghost ship crewed by the dead who refused to stop fighting. Asterisk. When Ghost waged war 3 months, 93 days of strikes, rescues, and impossible escapes. The Resilient saw the Ghost, as both humans and Krillians, now called her, had become legend. War Master Vexler of the Krillian Empire stood in his command chamber, studying the holographic displays with his 4 eyes, each pair capable of processing different spectrum frequencies simultaneously. 17 attacks, his subordinate, Ziekta, reported with barely contained frustration. No pattern we can predict. They strike mining outposts, prison camps, research stations. Sometimes they rescue humans. Sometimes they simply destroy our assets and vanish. Vexler's mandibles clicked in thought. In 800 years of conquest, the Krillian Empire had never encountered this. Defeated species either surrendered to extinction or fled to hide. They didn't transform into something else entirely. "Show me the commander again," he ordered. The hologram shifted to display Arya Chen, captured from security footage at their last strike. Where once stood a regulation military officer, now stood something that defied classification. Her uniform was gone, replaced with improvised armor made from Krillian hull plating. Her face bore scars from dozens of engagements. But it was her eyes that disturbed him. They held no fear, no hope, just purpose. "She's not following any military doctrine," Ziekta observed. "Not human, not any species we've catalogued. No." Vexler agreed, his voice a harmonic thrum. "She's writing new doctrine, the doctrine of the already dead." Meanwhile, aboard the Ghost, Arya stood in what they now called the Memory Wollevery Corridor surface, covered with images of the lost. 10 billion from Earth, 2 billion from Mars, millions more from dozens of worlds. But also new pictures, the 1,247 humans they'd rescued, alive because the Ghost had come for them. Commander Dr. Tanaka approached, her face grim. "We've intercepted Krillian communications. They're consolidating their forces around New Haven Colony." Arya studied the data. New Haven, one of humanity's oldest colonies, population of 15,000 before the invasion. The Krillians hadn't destroyed it yet, which meant they're using them as bait, Morrison said, reading her thoughts. "They want us to come." "How many survivors?" Arya asked. "Thermal scans suggest maybe 1,500 in the detention center." Artemis reported 1,500 lives. Against them, War Master Vexler had positioned 4 battleships, a dozen destroyers, and who knew what else hidden in the system. It was more than a trap, it was a statement. Come and die, or abandon. Your own people. Chief Engineer Volkov entered, oil still streaking his face. The quantum drive has maybe 3 jumps left. Whatever we do next, it needs to count. Arya looked round at her command staff, these people who had followed her from military officer to something harder to define. They had all lost everything: families, worlds, futures. Now they were being asked to likely lose their lives. I won't order anyone on this mission, she said quietly. This isn't military anymore. We're not soldiers. We're something else. So I'm asking who wants to show the Krillians what humans can really become. One by one, they stepped forward. Not just the command staff, but word spread through the ship. Engineers, medics, the rescued civilians who had learned to fight, all of them chose, not because they thought they would survive, but because survival had stopped being the point. They spent 2 days preparing. Not preparing to win, that was impossible. Preparing to make their deaths cost the Krillians dearly. Every system was rigged to overload. Every corridor became a potential explosive. The ghost would not be captured. She would die as she lived, in defiance. But Arya had one more card to play. Among the Krillian technology they'd salvaged was a communication device, quantum entangled to others of its kind. Dr. Tanaka had spent weeks studying it, learning its frequencies, its codes. Now, as they prepared to jump to New Haven, she made a breakthrough. Commander, I can broadcast through their entire network, she said, excitement breaking through exhaustion. Whatever message you want, every Krillian in the sector will hear it. Arya thought of all the species the Krillians had exterminated over their centuries of expansion, all who had gone quietly into that dark night. Humanity would be different. When we jump in, she said, broadcast everything. Every image from the memory wall, every recording of their atrocities, every human voice they've silenced. Let them hear what they've done. The jump to New Haven was their roughest yet. The ghosts materialized inside the Krillian formation, alarms immediately screaming as targeting locks engaged from every direction. But for one crucial moment, every Krillian communication system was overwhelmed by the voices of 10 billion dead. Humans, children singing nursery rhymes on Earth before the bombs fell. Scientists discussing their discoveries on Mars before the biological weapons deployed. Colonists laughing at birthday parties, weddings, graduations, all the ordinary moments of lives cut short. And through it all, Arya's voice: you called us inferior, pests to be exterminated, but we are humanity. We love, we dream, we sacrifice for each other. You may kill us all, but you'll never understand what you've destroyed, and that ignorance will haunt your empire forever. The Krillian ships hesitated not from sympathy, they were incapable of that, but from confusion. No defeated species had ever done this, ever forced their killers to truly see what they were ending. In that hesitation, the ghost struck, not at the warships, that would have been pointless, but at New Haven itself, crashing through the orbital defense grid, firing. Escape pods modified into kinetic missiles at the detention center's walls. Marines and volunteers poured out, not to fight the Krillian forces, but to run, to grab every human they could and drag them to safety. Warmaster Vexler watched from his flagship, a sensation he'd never felt before coursing through his consciousness. Not fear Krillians didn't fear, but something else. Respect, perhaps. These humans, who should have been extinct, were teaching the galaxy a new way to die. Should we fire on the colony? Zekta asked. No, Vexler commanded. Let them rescue their people. Let them have this moment. But sir, they're already dead, Vexler said, watching as the ghost, burning and breaking apart, managed one last impossible quantum jump with 800 rescued souls aboard. But their echo will outlive us all. The ghost remains in deep space, systems failing, hull breaching. They had minutes, maybe less, but they had saved 800 lives. 800 humans who would remember, who would carry the story forward. Arya stood on the bridge as emergency lights failed one by one. Through the view screen, she could see escape pods launching, carrying those they'd saved to a hidden supply cache where other rescue ships would find them. The ghost would die here, but humanity's story would continue. Artemis, she said softly, final ship's log. Recording, Commander. This is Commander Arya Chen of the ship formerly known as US Resilience. We were soldiers once. Then we were survivors. In the end, we became something else, a reminder that humanity doesn't die quietly. To any humans who hear this, remember us, but more importantly, remember yourselves. Remember what makes us human. Not our technology, not our weapons, but our choice to stand for each other, even when standing is impossible. She paused, watching the last escape pod clear minimum safe distance. To the Krillians who will find this wreck, you won. Your empire will continue. Your order will be maintained. But you'll always wonder, what else did we have in us that you never saw coming? What would humanity have become if you'd let us live? That question is our gift to you. May it haunt your perfect order forever. The final system failed. In the cold darkness of space, the ghost finally fell silent. But across the galaxy, in hidden bases and refugee camps, on damaged ships and in Krillian databases, her echo lived on. War Master Vexler would spend the rest of his life studying the humans, trying to understand what made them different. He would never succeed, because the answer was too simple for a Krillian to grasp. Humans knew how to lose everything and keep fighting anyway. The Krillian Empire would continue for another 1,000 years, conquering and ordering the galaxy, but they would never again call any species inferior. The ghost had taught them that even the smallest flame could cast the longest shadow, and in those shadows, humanity endured. Broken, scattered, but unbroken in spirit. They had learned from Arya, Chen, and the ghost that survival wasn't about living. It was about making your death mean something. The last echo of humanity would outlive empires. Asterisk.